Tune in every Sunday. Don't miss it. Live from the West Center for the Black People Media Studios. It is the Kickoff Kickback. Join the conversation with the brothers, Eugene, McIntosh, Herb Howard, and myself, Terrence, Tomlin.
We got analysis live from the stadium. The brother Joe Lewis will be following through. We got great guests coming in, players, personnel, people.
Say what? We do our thing every Sunday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon, taking you right up to kickoff.
We picking the full slate of NFL games. We talking fantasy football. Gino got you covered on all the bets. It's a kickback.
Make sure y'all join the conversation. Smash that like button. Smash that share button. And continue to help us push the culture forward.
Here.
Don't miss it
And
every
I know
Sunday
they can
from 10
probably
a.m.
hear
to
me.
12 noon, live here from the West Center for the Black People Media Studios.
Hey Chicago, it's Dawn Millhouse from the Book of Dawn. There's a lot of fake news about the COVID vaccine, just false information. So our station has joined the Protect Chicago team to help share the truth about the vaccine and dispel the rumors. I hear all the time, I've already had COVID. I don't need the vaccine. You're wrong. Get the facts by visiting the What's in It for the Black People Media page on Facebook and www.chicago.gov/COVIDVax. That's COVIDVAX. We're in this together, Chicago.
Hey, that's the court. You know what I'm saying? You see that they tearing the shit down, though, man. I remember back in the day, everybody used to be out here joking and shit, man. It's your boy, young fella, man. You know what I'm saying? Tearing our shit down, nigga. My mom, nigga. Fuck them, though. 60638 to the world, blow, though. You understand?
On this road from a boy to a man with no one to hold my hand. Shit, I'm just praying that I make it home safe. You never know what to expect when living life up in the jacks. One wrong step could be the reason you don't make it home safe. Gang writings on the walls, niggas running from the laws. But through it all, we just really trying to make it home safe. Navigating the obstacles of the streets can be one hell of a feat. Think it's sweet, you might not make it home safe. A bunch of children of the ghetto, unaware of the shit that awaited us all. Staring at the letter CVL spray painted on walls. Was just a tender boy, son of a single mother, expecting a baby girl. Now yet subjected to this crazy world. And at this time I'm thinking life was all Saturday morning cartoons and action figures, not knowing that as I get bigger that shit'll get dark soon. Them cap guns turned to broke revolvers with bodies on them. Some rebel, some took to the streets cause ain't nobody want them. I went from mama's boy to child of the streets, a child of deceit. I was young and running wild in the streets, hanging with folks them, but I wouldn't plug. They just accepted me, gave me some lit, told me fear no Vic, that was the recipe. Can't run the streets if you know you got poor endurance. Stay on point cause proper preparation prevents poor performance. Had to look, listen, and learn to peep the underhanded. Barely surviving, striving for knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Hit the county couple times, felt like I was stuck in time. Family looking at me like I lost my motherfucking mind. Coming home from school high, mommy tweaking, cursing me out. I holler, fuck you, bitch. Grab some of my shit, then leave the house. Graduated to selling crack and weed. Made a couple bucks, but I was getting womped. Blind to the tricks of the older clucks. Got stumped out by the police. For a young nigga in these cold streets, it ain't no peace. All that speedball and get your brains left on a slow leak. Mommy moved us to the burbs. That created bigger issues. I'm on a metro headed to the hood with weed scales and pistols. Folks got jumped. It's go time. Now I think I'm a hitter. We never found them niggas. A blessing that I ain't have to pull a trigger. I thought I was too live with that bullshit 2-5. Trying to be something I wasn't. I was living true lies. To the memory of all my niggas left deceased, I post some liquor in your honor, hoping that you rest in peace. On this road from a boy to a man with no one to hold my hand. Shit, I'm just praying that I make it home safe. You never know what to expect when living life up in the jacks. One wrong step could be the reason you don't make it home safe. Gang writings on the walls, niggas running from the laws. But through it all, we just really trying to make it home safe.
We out west with it, where we live illegal, leaning off a leader, riding regal, tipping scales like Libras. Inhale, no L's, pulling out blocks like Jenga. In the rear of a Caprices, Billy Rams, flicking decent nonetheless. Nothing less than tens for the speakers. You'll hear us before you see us with beats that beat the streets up. Yeah. So try and keep up and keep it low key, cuz police try and treat us and keep us on a leash, cuz that's how they see us, thinking we nuts. Cuz we'll die for the ground beneath us, because this land made us. This land made of players that stay on paper. That's how we came up amongst the mayhem to the day when we display what we made of. The game can never change us. The West Side teaches on these streets where you find that D before G. We out west with it, back down, trying to flip a dollar. If you looking, then we got it. You just got a bit of plot. We out west with it, riding clean, wetter than the sea. On the scene with a full tank, blowing AC. We out west with it. I'm posted. Let me know what y'all on, cause if y'all get on something, then just hit my phone. We out west with it. Yes sir, hustle for every penny in the trenches, but we turn struggle into strength. Smell the grind in the air, take a whiff. Only the nose knows the aroma. Compose the money rolls that fold up, holding cold cups. Searching for those that got the purple O's for the $4. And we can go nuts and stay at the stove like grocers, and post up with O's on the table like coasters. It's how the game coached us, made us all in the soldiers. Now that dough is the focus, so know that we own this. Molded by the hood role models, riding good, the latest model, drinking good, raising bottles like we just missed a pothole. You got to know that it's impossible to stop our flow. We've seen it all from watching cops reload, 30s a dro, while drinking the night away until the block got slow. You'll know as soon as you see us, we the ones laid back in the cut. My demeanor seems to always get me up. We out west with it, back down, trying to flip a dollar. If you looking, then we got it. You just got a bit of plot. We out west with it, riding clean, wetter than the sea. On the scene with a full tank, blowing AC. We out west with it. I'm posted. Let me know what y'all on, cause if y'all get on something, then just hit my phone. We out west with it. Yes sir, hustle for every penny in the trenches, but we turn struggle into strength. Yeah, home of the survivor, survival of the fittest in the town. It's wicked, you can J down. In a minute, what am? What's the business? The biz is how you down and get it. From Cape Town, the fifth city that sounds a fifth's empty. When we tipsy, it's risky. Where the lick be, at least 10 deep, it tempts me. But there's no mystery where the chips be, the tips G. Just our history from the 60s. Pimping ain't easy, but we bleed it. This here game is in our veins, in the air we breathe in. Believe this, it's no game, but the key is your mouthpiece, spit your game. But believe
WIFTBPM.
Live from What's in It for the Black Media Studio, you're listening to The Bigs with Eugene McIntosh and Terrence Tomlin.
Let's begin now.
WIFTBPM.
Live from What's in It for the Black Media Studio, you're listening to The Bigs with Eugene McIntosh and Terrence Tomlin.
Let's begin now.
No strikes. Aaron waiting. The outfield deep and straight away. Fastball is a high drive into deep left center field. Buckner goes back to the fence. It is gone. For baseball, what a marvelous moment for Atlanta and the state of Georgia. What a marvelous moment for the country and the world. A black man is getting a standing ovation in the Deep South for breaking a record of an all-time baseball idol. And it is a great moment for all of us, and particularly for Henry Aaron, who was met at home plate not only by every member of the Braves, but by his father and mother. He threw his arms around his father, and as he left the home plate area, his mother came running across the grass, threw her arms around his neck, kissed him for all she was worth.
What's going on, everybody out there? It is your boy, Eugene McIntosh, one half of the illest independent sports media outlet in the whole entire land. I got my player partner, the one and only Terrence Tomlin, a.k.a. T-Tom the Great, coming in on location. And it was only right that we started off this beautiful Friday afternoon with the late, great Hank Aaron, man. T, how you feeling over there, brother?
Feeling good, man. It was definitely the perfect way to start off the show. Definitely rest in peace to the legend of all legends, the one and only Hank Aaron. It's of course, I immediately started to think, or a memory immediately popped in my head in 2016, bro. I believe it was Los Angeles, the NLCS. It was either Los Angeles for the NLCS or Cleveland for the World Series. But I was at the ceremony where Hank Aaron was giving an award to Chris Bryant.
Wow.
And I remember sitting there not believing that I'm sitting on the other side of Hank Aaron.
Yeah.
And it was the same feeling I got when we got a chance to be on the court with Kobe. You know what I mean? Thankful that the bigs had made it possible, but also understanding that for black people, you know what I mean, it's always bigger than the game. You know what I mean? Hank Aaron is bigger than the game of baseball to so many people, man. And it's definitely, as soon as I saw the news, my heart sank. So I'm definitely feeling it today.
No, I'm right there with you, brother. Hold on, let me make sure I get this. Okay, there we go. No, I'm right there with you, man. When I woke up this morning and, I was doing my morning routine, and then I got the little first, I saw a reported, the athletics report came up on my phone first. So when I saw it, I'm like, damn. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know what to think immediately because it hadn't sunk in. It was just, how those notifications pop ups, and then another one pops up and another one pops up. But then once I realized that it said Hank, I saw it say Hank Aaron, but it didn't really hit. Then when I realized it was Hank Aaron dies at 86, I'm like, damn, man, not hammering Hank. And, the first person I had to text was my mother because, I always tell you, man, if it wasn't for my mom, I probably wouldn't be there. Obviously, that I wouldn't have gotten into sports, but like I tell you all the time, man, my mom is like the biggest sports fan, and black athletes, she made sure that I was in tune with all black athletes coming up. And, obviously Hank Aaron was one of those. We were obviously everything he did, we weren't alive to witness it, but if you know the history, obviously you gotta just if you consider yourself a sports historian, then the legend of Hank Aaron has got to be, at the top of your list. So
Facts.
It was I just had to sit back and think about it for a second. And he's definitely one of the greatest, black athletes of all time, one of the greatest baseball players of all time, but not just one of the greatest athletes, but one of the greatest black men of all time. When you think about, him being a voice for the civil rights movement and, just all the things he had to overcome, like the video we played from the beginning. The thing that always stands out to me is him running around second base and the two white homies running on the field. And I can only imagine what Hank Aaron was thinking when he saw them two white guys running up on him, because everybody, if you don't know, that was around the time when he was chasing Babe Ruth's home run record. And we knew about the racism going on, and, he was playing in the Deep South, and, he was getting death threats and all type of things, on the cusp of breaking Babe Ruth's record. So, that really stands out to me the most. And that's really why, I wanted to play that video to start it off because, again, not only was he one of the greatest black athletes, but one of the greatest black men, and, a Hall of Fame inductee in 1982, second all-time in home runs. Still, I think he still got the most
depending
RBIs.
on,
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
saying, depending on who you talk to.
Well,
because he's still number one in a lot of people's minds.
He's still number one in a lot of people's minds, and he took Barry Bonds passing him up. He kept it 100% player, even though, probably deep down inside he probably had those same type of feelings, but he never showed it, and that shows the true character of Hank Aaron. Like I said, I think he still has the most RBIs ever, third all time in hits behind Pete Rose and Ty Cobb. 23 seasons in the league, 1957 NL MVP. Man, hit over 40 home runs in 8 seasons, 20 home runs in 8 consecutive seasons. Man, just a lot of history with Hank Aaron, man, on that baseball field. Started off in the Negro Leagues for a couple months. Just, yeah, man, it finally hit home after I had to sit back and think about it for a little minute.
Yeah, man, it was you talking about the history of the game, and that's the core of me. I got memories back from when I was young, watching ESPN classics and hearing him tell that story of rounding the bases after he broke the record and being scared that those two white dudes was going to come kill him because, like you said, he was getting death threats simply because he was getting ready to be at the top of a list that of a white man's list. You feel me? He was about to be at the top of a white man's list, and of course, white people couldn't stand it. And I actually saw a quote that I want to read real quick. I was watching Howard Bryant talk about Hank Aaron, and Howard Bryant actually wrote a book with Hank Aaron about his experiences with race during his baseball career.
Okay.
And this quote about the day he broke the home run record was crazy to me. I just want to share it with you guys real quick.
Yeah.
It says, "It really made me see for the first time a clear picture of what this country was about," he said. "My kids had to live like they were in prison because of kidnapping threats, and I had to live like a pig in a slaughter camp. I had to duck. I had to go out the back door of ballparks. I had to have a police escort with me at all times. I was getting threatening letters every single day. All of these things had put a bad taste in my mouth, and it didn't go away. They carved a piece of my heart away during that time." And that's just so profound to hear, because he was a black man. You know what I mean? Like, it was the first thing they mentioned in the video that we just watched. They couldn't believe that in the Deep South, everybody was standing up cheering for a black man. It was so rare.
Yeah.
So you just have to, it's really hard. You can't really understand what he was going through, but you can only imagine to be at the top in his prime at the time that he was, because he played against Satchel Paige.
Yeah.
Like his number one hero was Jackie Robinson. Like,
yeah,
he goes all the way back to the beginning of black baseball history, and it as a young baseball fan, it was cool to see him always, in front of the camera when Barry Bonds was getting ready to break his career. It was, his record. It was cool to see Hank Aaron get that love, because it made you want to go back and do a bigger dive on the history. So, man, when a guy like Hank Aaron passes, it's just it takes you all the way back through baseball history. Like, the man is truly one of the biggest legends that we had.
No doubt, man. I think that you've spoken like a genius, bro. I appreciate you reading that quote, because I was going to say the Vin Scully call on that home run said it all. Like you said, a black man, the way he said it was like, it was unbelievable. And I could only imagine living in those times how black people felt, because I'm sure a piece of us was inside of Hank Aaron. I'm pretty sure everybody that was watching and that was a fan of baseball felt the same way, man. And man, if I was running those bases in that time, again, it's hard. It's easy to say what you would have done or what you thought, but I can only imagine what he was going through on a daily basis, man. And I think another quote, I was reading something earlier and something else, I saw a quote from Muhammad Ali. And Muhammad Ali said, Hank Aaron was the only guy that he idolized more than himself. And
wow,
you know what I'm saying? Because you know Ali was that guy. He
exactly.
talked that talk and walked that walk, and he thought the most of himself, which you should, especially when you're at the top of the pedestal. When you're at the top, you have to have that kind of demeanor and those kind of thoughts about yourself to even be able to maintain and continue to push forward. But I thought that was real, one of the realest quotes I ever heard, and that showed the type of person and the type of character that Hank Aaron was, man. And also, if you think about, Major League Baseball back in the 60s and the 70s when he played, that was the era of the pitcher with Sandy Koufax and Don Drysdale and Fergie Jenkins and all of those type of guys.
Man,
you know what I'm
just
saying?
super legends.
Super legends, man. And for him to be able to do what he did, put up those numbers in an era of the pitcher, I mean, 8 seasons of 40 home runs and 20 consecutive seasons of 20 home runs. I think that's as consistent as you could possibly be. But also, T, if you could possibly be as great of a baseball player and as great of a man as Hank Aaron was, I still think he was underrated, bruh. I still think he was underrated, bruh.
Man, and I feel like that's obvious because, I still feel like even in 2021, when you think of the major legends in baseball, a lot of people will bring up Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig,
Anybody, like you said,
just
Ty Cobb,
the super white, Ty Cobb. I'm running Mickey Mantle. I'm just running down exactly.
Yeah,
man. But of course, I'm thinking Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, Jackie Robinson. Like I feel like more than any other sport, it's really two worlds, man. And we had the conversation a couple of months ago about the news that MLB was combining the Negro League stats with the Major League Baseball stats, and Negro League had got they finally had the major league status applied to the league. But the fact of the matter is that is one of the biggest what's the word I'm looking for? The biggest issues in all the sports is what happened to the Negro League and the relationship they had with MLB.
Right.
You're really talking about the Negro Leagues having some of the best baseball players of all time, and they weren't allowed to play with white people. So when you talk about Hank Aaron being on the other side of that, of course he's underrated because, Lord forbid, he gets to wear the crown in that white man's sport.
Yeah, man.
So I totally feel you when you say that he's quite possibly underrated.
Yeah, 100%. I 100% agree with you. And also, even though, we talk about them white guys, and we know it's two Americas. We talk about it all the time. But even talking about when we talk about a guy like Willie Mays, who's as great as he was, it was like, I think Willie Mays, will probably get the edge, and he gets the adulation and all of the props because he played in a major market, playing in New York and playing in California for the Giants, while Hank was down in Atlanta. So I think, that plays into it as well. But if you look at the stats and you look at the history of the game, man, I did a little bit of the knowledge earlier, and I was just looking at all the names throughout the history of the game. I'm like, man, Hank Aaron might, as great as Hank Aaron is, and as much as he's etched in stone in our memories, and like I said, Uncle Jesse, man, he hammered no pun intended, hammering Hank's, name into my head from a shorty.
Yes,
It
sir.
was like, this is
Yes,
somebody
sir.
that you need to study and watch and see how he, just look at his characters. Not obviously his game speaks for itself, but you got to see the way he carries himself in the world that they were living in at that time. And that was like the model of the way to carry yourself going forward. So when I look back and I think about all the past players up until today, man, it definitely stuck to me. I'm like, man, Hank Aaron, as great as he was, he could possibly be the most underrated of all time, man. So shout out to
Gino,
Hammer. Go ahead.
Did you used to catch the they used to run the old home run
Come on,
derby
man.
episodes
Come on,
back
bro.
on
Come
ESPN
on.
Classic?
Come on, brother.
Yeah.
I watched that faithfully.
Yeah, man.
Faithfully.
Come on. I mean, in
Harmon.
black and white.
Yeah, man.
just
Come on, T. I
Yeah,
tuned
man.
into that every morning, bro.
Yes, sir, man. I'm seeing it right now. The conversation before they head to the plate, and then you get to talk to the other player while
Yep.
the other one is bad. Just classic, legendary stuff when you get to thinking about Hank Aaron. And even you talk about digging into history. Just sitting here right now, I know that I feel like I know it's more to dig into. I was watching Howard Bryant talking. I'm like, I gotta go get this book. That quote just is probably gonna stick with me forever. But I have to go. I'm a history buff anyway, so I'm probably gonna be digging into that one soon.
No doubt, man. I might need to cop the book as well, man. R.I.P. to the legend, Hammering Hank Aaron, setting the standard for black baseball players today. And, man, we're going to continue to carry on his legacy on the field and off the field and continue to fight for our rights and never cave in, man. So, look, let's take a break, T. When we come back on the other side of this break, I'm going to let you kick it off with what you want to get into, man. I know you got a few topics over there. I got a few topics over here. We can get into it, man. So shout out to everybody that's tuned in on the soil, rocking with the brothers. Shout out to Ron Rilla behind the boys, holding the brothers down.
Yes, sir.
And, man, we'll be back on the other
Yes,
side
sir.
of this break. You on the soil with the bigs.
WIIFTBPN.
The Chicago Legal Network is the collaboration of attorneys that concentrate in many areas of the law most needed in Chicago neighborhoods. The CLN lawyers focus on personal injury, criminal defense, and other issues. The CLN lawyers all average over 20 years of legal experience and are dedicated to helping the Chicago community. The Chicago Legal Network is committed to developing black lawyers through mentorship and co-representation. So if you were injured in a car accident, slip and fall, or injured on the job, or you need assistance with criminal defense, including driving violations and DUI, check out ChicagoLegalNetwork.com for more information or call 773-912-3545. 773-912-3545.
Shop at Black-owned and operated Solo Beauty, where you are appreciated and respected. Located at 8158 South Cottage Grove, Solo Beauty can supply all of your black hair care needs. Solo Beauty is open from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m., Tuesday through Saturday.
The city. As I take a sip of this fifth that makes me shiver, you could probably sail a ship on this river full of liquor. We stay afloat where hope drowns in addictions, a potent mixture. This is the picture that depicts us. We live it up, giving what we were given, gave our all, refused to give in or give up, willing to risk it all. Gee, we lived on a tip drunk, dug deep in the trenches, shit, we knew what the risk was. But of course, again, it's the same story when shots fired in the alley hit shorty valedictorian. Where's the support for him, the less fortunate? Another life lost, another day in court again. 20 years for the defendant for any sort of grin. Ward of the state, he was raised in the orphanage. To where it all began, the source of it. Empty cupboards, floorboards, no money for the store again. That's all he knows.
Just where I come from, all of what I've learned, most of what I've done, I owe it all to the people that I love. I hope you're proud of me wherever I go. I'm from. I'm from.
cool. What you tripping for? The richest ones get riches from the rituals. On the tip with hype, tippy toe. For a fix a blow, getting dough. Running every type of give and go. No Philip drumming in these different strokes. Where we come up on these risky roads. Pray for a pot to piss in for the kitchen stove. Criminal capers just to get us on. Bagging up the same order that gets us gone. Thinking maybe one day we may hit that goal. Until then I'm outside until I flip this soul. Grabbing fingers from the sick go on Cicero. I see a visual of them people frisking bro. Stretched out by a shorty with the grimace on. Sometimes it ain't even the money, it's the principle. Can tell you why we die, but what are we living for?
This is my city, this where I come from. All of what I've learned, most of what I've done, I owe it all to the people that I love. I hope you're proud of me wherever I go. I'm from.
You are back on the soil with the brothers. I am Eugene McIntosh. Got my player partner T-Tom coming in live on location. That was the great Mick Luder. An exclusive, man. T, I felt like on this Friday afternoon, man, I had to bust out an exclusive, first time ever heard on the airways, man. You know I got a lot of ML tucked away. Again, Ron Rilla, that was only for On the Soil. That
was hot.
That's another one of the tracks
Man.
that you only gonna hear on the soil, man. So shout out to the
Gene,
great
I
ML.
was sitting here.
T, you ever heard that one before?
I've never heard that when I was just sitting here telling Ja that, man, that's one of my favorite things about this show. Like the vibe of that is so up my lane. I don't know if y'all saw me, but I was over here about to shake the headphones out of my ear. And so I totally love, I love Mick. Any Mick, I'm probably gonna love it anyway. But that one stood out. We got to keep playing that. We got to keep that one in rotation.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I was going through the tracks earlier. I'm like, man, it's 2021. You know, we got to bust out a couple new MLs just for On the Soil. It's a lot of ML that can be played throughout the What's In It for the Black People Media Network. But we got a couple on deck that's only for On the Soil. So if you want to hear that exclusive Mick, you either got to listen to On the Soil or you got to hit me or T up and we can send it to you directly. But other than that, all the other tracks, hit up Ron Rilla, hit up Maze Jackson, hit up somebody that's behind the boards in the studio, and they'll send you the tracks, man. That's how we get out, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, but no, Gino, I ain't want to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, before we continue on, man, I gotta drop the knowledge. I gotta drop the rules, bro.
It's only right.
Man, we need everybody out there to smash that like button, smash them share buttons, hit the comments, join the conversation, continue to help us push our content forward and push this culture forward, man. Over here at What's In It for the Black People Media, we got it all the way cracking, and it's up to us and it's up to you guys to help us continue to push forward and help us continue to build the platform. Tell a friend to go follow What's In It for the Black People Media's page, Facebook page, hit the like button, subscribe, do whatever you got to do, and get in tune with us, man, because it's all about black media. It's all about the black voice, especially at this time. You know, everybody, the other day, everybody was so charged up because Donald Trump is out, and we got a, new presidency. We got Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in the building. And since it's time for change, it's time for change all the way around, man. So make sure y'all continue to support the black voice. This is more than just the voice, man. It's about ownership. It's about leaving something for the next generation. It's about, putting ourselves on the forefront, man. Not looking for no government, not looking for no different type of agencies to look out for us, man. You know my hashtag T. We all we got over here. So everybody out there, continue to help us, man. We appreciate the love, whether you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Instagram, Periscope, whatever your social media lane of choice. We appreciate you guys tuning in, and man, we can only continue to express our love and gratitude for the support.
100%, man. You know, I echo those sentiments. Like I said on Wednesday, it's more important than ever to support black media, man, and what's going on and what's in it for the black people, as well as the bigs media, is always, we're doing something especially for the people, man. So it's only right that you ride with us. We're gonna be here riding with you guys right back into 2021. We made it through the 2020 together. It's only right that we stick together in 2021, man. So it's still just the beginning of the year, man. I'm looking forward to having another great 12, 11 months. It's a lot going on in the sports world right now, bro. During the break, I was trying to pick a topic to talk about, and I'm like, well, damn, we got so many things to talk about because we could talk about NBA and COVID. When I wrote these notes, I think they had postponed 14 games. Now it's up over 20. It's up over 20 games postponed now. We could talk about what's going on with the White Sox. Not only did Tim Anderson land on the cover of RBI Baseball 2021, and he was able to talk about it yesterday, but they also signed Liam Hendricks, arm for the rotation that they've needed from Oakland. They signed Yoelqui Cespedes, the brother of Yoenis.
Where'd he come from?
I'm not sure where he came from, but I know he was the top-ranked international player, and he signed with the White Sox. So over the last few years, the White Sox have been great when it comes to signing international talent. You saw it with Luis Robert, and now Yoelqui Cespedes is added to the mix. But I think what I want to talk about is this conversation that I've been seeing all week. I thought it died, but I woke up this morning to people rehashing it because KD and LeBron got involved in the conversation.
Oh man,
and
I
it's
missed
about it's about the old heads and the way they talk about players in the game today. Cuffs the legend, which if you follow basketball and LeBron, Cuffs the legend is the leader of the LeBron Hive. You know what I mean? He came out and said that Shaq and Charles Barkley need to stop with the way they criticize young players in the league today. They need to just ride off into retirement and chill, is what he said.
Okay.
And that's, it's a regular Cuffs the Legend post, but both KD and LeBron got involved in the conversation. It was like, you right, those dudes be tripping, and those are our brothers, but they need to respect the modern game. You know what I mean? Is it and they went on, it was like, is it different from when they played? And even early on in our careers, they was like, hell yeah. But they was like, these kids today deserve more from the legends. They was like, and if it's not gonna come from the legends, then they got coaches that they talk to every day. So forget what they talking about anyway. So I feel like it's an interesting conversation because I know you got some thoughts on it, but I feel like the James Harden situation for me is what made me want to talk about it, because he came out on Instagram saying that you're supposed to uplift other black men, and he took that angle. He was like, hey, I'm another black man trying to do my thing while you tearing me down. And I thought that was an angle to take because he didn't really support his black head coach.
Talk about it. Talk about it, T. Talk about it.
And I got to tell you, because first of all, a side note, I've gotten a bunch of text messages saying that Paul Silas is your twin, and they think that is you on the sidelines with a mask on. But I feel like that's an interesting, like I said, it's an interesting angle to take when he basically bogarted his way out of Houston to go play for Steve Nash. Yeah, I mean, basically leaving his black head coach out to dry. And I don't want to say that because I give Paul Silas credit as being a good coach. He got the job. I'm sure that he'll find a way to do his thing. But I feel like that is a very important conversation going on in basketball right now. Is when you look at the media, it's so full of ex-players. You know what I mean? How do you personally feel about how critical they are of the modern game? And basically, critical is nice because they basically just shit on it anytime they get a chance.
Well, I mean, if we're gonna look, I feel like criticism is warranted constructive criticism at that. So last night I was at the crib and I was watching the Utah Jazz and New Orleans Pelicans game. I had a FanDuel same game parlay, so that's really the only reason I was that interested in that game. But, man, during halftime, Shaq and Charles were having a conversation. So, you know, Shaq is always, excuse my language, shitting on Rudy Gobert because he, you know, his numbers, Shaq doesn't think that his numbers warrant the contract he got. And you know me, man, I ain't never counting another brother's pockets. Get your money, get it how you live. If them people want to pay you that much, then that's cool. Like, but Shaq thinks that Rudy Gobert isn't worth $200 million. That's neither here nor there. But they were having a conversation at halftime about Donovan Mitchell. And basically Shaq and Charles was saying that Donovan Mitchell is a very good player. He's a star. But in order for him to reach that ascend to that next level of stardom, then he has to become a more complete player, and he has to affect the game more than just offensively scoring the basketball. And I 100% agree with that. Like, that's not – I didn't feel like there was a problem with that. Now, I don't know if you saw it or not, but after the game, you know, Donovan, the Jazz ended up winning by 15. Donovan Mitchell, he was on the post-game presser, and you know, Shaq told him, he was like, "Man, Don, we were talking about you in the during halftime, and you know, we were basically saying that, you know, in order for you to take that next step, you got to do more." And Donovan Mitchell was, I wish I could play it word for word. I wish I could find a video and play it for you. But Donovan Mitchell, he was basically short. He gave Shaq a one-word answer like, yeah, that's cool. And I like the way that Donovan Mitchell came back at Shaq because I do agree with the original stance of, you know, those guys, they do a lot of criticizing, and they criticize the game a lot as a whole. But I feel like player criticism, it just depends on how it comes out, you know, and from who it comes from. Because sometimes I do think Shaq is a hater. I do think Charles Barkley is a hater, but I do think they have valid points at times, being former players and being all-time greats and Hall of Famers. So they do have, okay, bro says Shaq told him that he ain't have what it takes to get to, that's what it was. He told him that he didn't have what it took. Now I think that's a hater. Now I think that's hating. That's hating.
That is hating on another level. It's like, come on, Shaq. After he was killing last night.
But this was before he dropped that 30 piece. But I agree with that. I definitely think that's hateration because Donovan Mitchell is still a very young player. Like, this guy just got to the league maybe 4 years ago, maybe 5, no more than 5. He's only been in the league for a handful of years. And every year he takes his game to the next level. And Barkley was saying something like, you know, it's a shame that he's only had one game in his career where he's had more than 10 rebounds or 10 assists in a game. And that's understandable to a point, but it's like, I'm really
How
not.
tall is Donovan Mitchell?
Donovan Mitchell might be 6'5" at the most.
Okay.
So, I mean, I understand what Charles is saying, but you really can't. Numbers only tell one part of the story. You can affect the game in many, many other ways, and the numbers don't look like that. So I definitely feel like Shaq was hating with his comments about him taking it to the next level, and I feel like Chuck is always hating. But like I said, I take the comments, and you know I got to look at them for what they're worth and who they come from. But I mean, these guys are Hall of Famers. The game is totally different from the game that they played. And it was something interesting something else they said last night, T, was something I told you at the beginning of the season was that, and this goes back in the last season, where when we go through our league pass and we see, just say it's like 8 or 9 games on that night, 5 or 6 of them, I don't have any intention. You know, it's just a bunch of 3-point shooting. it's not a lot of competition. A lot of guys ain't fundamentally sound. And maybe I'm sounding like the old head, but I like competitive basketball. I like the game played the right way. I like the game played the complete way. And a lot of these games nowadays that we watch, they're just not that entertaining and even just fundamentally sound. They're hard to watch. And Charles asked Kenny the same thing last night. Like, man, do you think that these games have you been disappointed in the game play this season? And Kenny was like, yeah, I have. I thought a lot of these teams would be much more competitive. I thought a lot of these games would be much more competitive, and I thought a lot of these players would be a lot better than they were. So, again, man, I agree with those guys on a lot, but I also disagree with them on a lot. So I'm kind of in the middle of what KD and LeBron was saying. But the Donovan Mitchell thing with Shaq, that was totally out of pocket.
Yeah, but see now, I feel like the Shaq Donovan Mitchell comment kind of goes into a bigger picture, which is when these ex-athletes cross over into the media, they are you. I feel like the current players think that these guys are going to be on our side, but what they see is what makes entertaining TV. You know what I mean? Shaq wants to stay on TNT, don't he? So he's gonna do whatever he feels like is entertaining to the people, and he knows that when he says so and so sucks, this dude is trash, that the views are gonna go up. You know what I mean? But see now, I feel like why Shaq thinks that Donovan Mitchell or it doesn't have what it takes to get to the next level, or how they feel about the game today is funny. They said something yesterday about Zion Williamson that kind of had me tripping, Joe, because they were looking at his numbers. They saw that the man hadn't hit a three, I think, all year, and I think about 90% of his offensive game has come from inside the 3-point line, right? And I think that he's the first player in a few years to have that high of mid-range game percentage of the mid-range game, right? And when they said that, Shaq immediately was like, "Cool, great. That's what I like. That's how it used to be." But then when I started watching that Pelicans game, and I started watching Brandon Ingram or what's the other cat that they got from Los Angeles, Jordan Clarkson.
Yeah.
And they was firing that mug up from behind the three. And real talk, they looked better than Zion to me. You know what I mean? And Zion is young. He's still, you saw the athleticism, and you saw, the reason why he's so touted. But in watching that game, in just one game, I immediately felt like if he don't stretch his game out a little bit, he's not going to be as good as people want him to be. And you see, I feel like the Pelicans are trash. And if you wonder why they're not trash, it's because they battling between playing an old school style of basketball versus a new school style of basketball. They're trying to get Zion to adapt. But when I look at Brandon Ingram, I'm like, hey, this dude is on point. When he had 4 threes in the first quarter, so I understand it's a clear difference in today's game, but I totally feel like if you're not playing today's game, you're gonna get swept up and pushed out. And that's players, coaches.
What exactly do you consider today's game? Because, and going back to the New Orleans Pelicans, fun fact, those guys have been on national TV 6 times so far this year. Their record is 0-6.
Yeah, they trash for real. Yeah, I mean, they weren't playing any defense, but that's besides the point. Now, to answer your question, I feel like the game is predicated on percentages. You know what I mean? And I hate to even look at the game like this. Like, my heart just kind of broke even taking steps to say this, but it's about
analytics,
what a good shot is these days. And a good shot to most of the teams in NBA is a 3 over a 2. You know what I mean? Like they just break it down to that. Like I'll get more points off this shot than that shot. If I shoot 40% from three, that's almost better than shooting 50% from two. Is what they
3 for 9. The logic is 3 for 9 from 3 is better than 5 for 10 from 2. And I don't care who you are. I don't care what method of madness you come up with. I don't care what's the guy who invented the player efficiency rating. John Hollinger.
John Hollinger.
I don't give a damn about John Hollinger or any other analytic nerd in the world. It ain't no way in hell that you telling me that 3 for 9 from 3 is better than 5 for 10 from 2. And the two, when you get to the end of the game, when the game is on the line, I don't care. I don't want to hear this, man. When you get to the end of the game, the shot that's going to be available, the shot that's going to come to you the most is going to be the mid-range shot. And that's why guys like Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Kobe Bryant, Big Mike, all of those guys, even we can go Tim Duncan and all of those guys, Paul Pierce, all the guys who are finishers in the NBA, they mastered the mid-range game. And I don't care what way the game stretches out and how much more analytic they try to make it. The best shot in the game and the easiest shot and the shot that's going to come to you the most at the end when the game is on the line is the mid-range shot, bro.
No, that's I feel like that's just the fact of the matter. Like you see that in the playoffs, you see it. You just win, like you said, when it comes down to it, that's just how the game is. But man, oh man, is it a straight up 3-point contest in any other situation?
Yeah,
it's totally a different game, and I totally get why guys like Shaq, guys like Chuck, whose game was predicated with living in the paint. You know what I mean? Like those are two dudes that lived in the paint. I remember playing with Charles Barkley on NBA Live, and I could just start backing you down from the free throw line, man. You know what I mean? Like that's just what it was back then, you know. So, I in conversations with you, I know that the way the game was played and the beauty of it, you know what I mean. That's not how it's played anymore. But see, now what I want to ask you is how do we judge players today then? You know, what is a good player? Is it the same scale? Or is it different? Because are we looking at guys like Devin Booker, Brandon Ingram, Ja Morant, Zion? What can make them great players in the league today?
I think Devin Booker, Brandon Ingram, and Ja Morant are 3 guys who can get into the mid-range game and be effective. Ja Morant don't shoot a bunch of threes. Ja Morant is either going to the rack, finishing, or doing that little floater, or he might take a 3. If you're going to back up off of him and disrespect him, then he's got to take the 3. But Devin Booker is an all-around complete offensive player. He masters the mid-range. He's got a 3-ball. He got a step back. He got a fade away. He got a post game. He got a one-leg fade away. He can finish over the top. He can finish with a floater. He can do all of that. Same with Brent. Same with B.I. B.I. can shoot the long ball. He's tall enough to get to the middle of the court, shoot over the top. If you bigger, he can go around you. He'll put it on top of your head. He got a floater. He's got all of that. He's extended his range to the 3. Now, what makes you a complete player is the other end of the floor. And I'm not saying you necessarily got to be Kawhi Leonard or Pat Bev or whoever we consider the Ron Artest and all of those type of guys, but you have to be able to affect the game in other ways than just scoring the basketball. And I think that's what makes a complete player. So, I mean, there are a lot of guys in the league who I think are great players, but the game overall, the team game, if we just look at the Bulls, you see the effect of a total team game versus last year when you got a guy like Billy Donovan who's coached at a college level and won 2 championships, and he took his talents to the NBA, and he's actually brought a successful offensive scheme along the way. And he showed you even a guy like Thaddeus Young who has gone back to what he's best at. And that's playing in the pocket, playing around the rim, doing that floater, doing those type
Super
of things.
reliable.
So, just doing what's best for you. So I think that's what has really, been the downfall of, competitive entertainment basketball, from my opinion, in the NBA, is just a lack of fundamental development from players, and then them not doing what's best for them and for the team overall.
Is there anything about today's game that you respect? That any aspect of the game that didn't exist 10, 15, 20 years ago, that's new that you appreciate?
Man, let's take another break. When we come back on the other side, I want you to run that question by me again, and let's continue this conversation, man, because this is very interesting stuff. I see the people in the comments are getting to it too. So let's continue this conversation after the break. You're on the soil rocking with the bigs.
WIFTPN.
Church Chicago's Power Hour. I'm your host, Angie Mims, and
Terrence Keys, TD, a.k.a. Terrence Daniels.
You got an inspirational word for today?
Oh, man, I'll be honored. Giving honor to God. Hey, man, on Sunday morning, it's early, so we got to give honor to God.
Yes, sir.
The good word for today is don't worry.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes in our life, in our walk, in our days, in our journeys, we find a way to just worry about so many things. Yeah. And we just want to encourage you today that those worries is God's responsibility. Mm-hmm. It's God's responsibility, because at the end of the day, what we worry about, most times we can't handle it.
Yes.
If we would agree together, we can't handle it. So we have to give it to God. That's his responsibility. Mm-hmm. And our job is to simply believe.
Yes.
I agree. Simply believe. When we believe, the Bible says all things are possible.
Come on through here.
I believe that alone. I
Preach it already.
You feel it? So be anxious for nothing. Even the Bible says don't worry about anything in Matthew 6:33. It says don't worry about anything, but seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these other things be added unto you. So we're here to encourage you.
Dissect the swisher, digest the liquor. The dialect is the elixir. To the listener who listens to this one, listen is the change of the guard like the Pistons. Get scum soon as the fifth dome. Now I'm numb with this Gibsons in my system. They helpless, I can't help these guys. It's only two niggas fucking with me, myself and I. These ill hustlers envy my instinct. Instinctively I empty to nothing remains besides the remains. Father forgive me. They started so I finished, they departed dearly. I hear my name in all circles clearly. They feel me, the feelings, the flow is filthy. To the T-top, no I have no ceiling. Like the MC, I'm an MC. SS, smoke, Marshall Mac, Dizzle off a pillow in the rental with that kizzle, ride rhythm with riddles. It's all fired up for internet comments. It's so bothersome, I wonder why some bother. They get more than they bargain for. My ship set sails on docks they harbor on. West side, motherfucker, where the stars is born. Where we shop till we drop without department stores. You talk then I snore like I'm sleep, cause that shit is so weak, it's a bore. The nerve when you creeps. I wonder how you even had the strength to speak. Especially to me, I'm everything that you seek. I'll settle the score for those that want a medal without the medal, just from the reach of my speech. I write with a Uzi on the loose leaf, peep behind bars with the pen like two sweets. It's just the fact of life like 2T. It's just you and me like we riding a two-seat. It's Mick, I'm no mouse, no time for you goofies. R-A-W, I'm raw and sushi. Just like the pendulum, the way the mood swings. Nothing like anything you dudes ever seen. Bottles Alaskan, the brand is EXO. Dubs of the Kush bees the size of X-Rose. Pay him no mind, I tune out the echoes.
Hating from the sidelines, these Vinny Del Negros. Man, Joe. Hating from the sidelines, these Vinny Del Negros, man. You are back on the soil with the bigs. I'm Eugene McIntosh in the building with my player partner, Terrence Tomlin, a.k.a. T-Tom. What's good over there, brother?
Man, it's real good over here, man. Blessed to be at the end of week 1 of the return. Looking forward to next week already. And low key, Joe, I'm reading is high school basketball back in Illinois.
I'm
I'm
not
getting
sure, man.
updates
I
on
was talking
I'm
to
getting updates on Twitter.
Yeah, I was talking to Coach Mo from Fenwick yesterday, and he was saying, man, that they're able to resume practicing, I think, and he was like, man, I'm just hoping that we can get like a 15-game season or something. And I'm like, man, whatever it is, let's get it cracking, because I'm definitely missing high school basketball in the shot, bro.
Absolutely, we're gonna have to. I'm gonna dig a little bit on that, and I'll have exactly what's going down by the end of the show. But I wanted to make sure I circle back to this question, man, because I lean on you for my basketball questions. I was telling Ja, I guess on the last episode she had asked a basketball question to you and asked me about what you said back to her. I was like, I'm gonna have to let me ask Gene.
What?
I'll circle back to Gene. We were
What?
talking about the Bulls offense and their pick and roll and Wendell Carter Jr.'s positioning on the pick and roll.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that, that's something I always lean on you with. But I want to know, is there anything that's new about the game that you like, all right, that's cool, I mess with that? Or is it all
Well,
I don't
let's circle back to Ja and the whole Wendell Carter situation. So I'm just thinking that, because when I do my little game recap, sometimes I do a little game recap on Facebook, and a lot of the comments are always talking about Wendell Carter's pick and roll defense. And Billy Donovan, he talked about that in one of the post game pressers, and he said that's the scheme that they want to run, because if you think about it, T, the thing we just talked about, the NBA right now, the NBA is either a 3-ball or finishing at the rim. There is basically no in between. So when you got the pick and roll, just say you got Wendell Carter in the pick and roll with Ja Morant. When Ja Morant comes off that pick and roll and he sees Wendell Carter, if Wendell Carter steps up on that pick and roll, Ja Morant is going to blow right past him and be at the rim for a finish. The Bulls don't have who's a shot blocker in the NBA besides Rudy Gobert?
That's a great question. That's the first name I would think of. I wouldn't necessarily say Joel Embiid.
I'll give him that. Let's give Joel Embiid that. I'll give him that.
I read an article that said that's an aspect of his game that is important to him that he tapped back into.
Yep.
But what, Andre Drummond?
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? I'm thinking of the super big guys. Giannis will get a couple.
Giannis definitely.
LeBron.
But think about it. LeBron plays on the wing. Giannis plays on the wing. Those are small forwards, bro.
Exactly.
So, back to my point about Wendell. The Bulls have nobody to defend the paint but Wendell Carter when he's in, or Daniel Gafford when he's in. Rarely or never do you see Wendell Carter or Daniel Gafford in the game together. So the scheme is for Billy Donovan. He's thinking, well, since the NBA is a 3-pointer or at the rim game, that middle game is basically non-existent. So we're gonna play the pick and roll like that game is non-existent, because most of the time Wendell Carter is gonna bag up off the pick and roll and invite those guys to the basket where he can get a block. But most of the time, you know what they're gonna do? They're going to come in, they're going to draw Wendell Carter, they're going to draw that other defender, which leaves a 4-on-3. And what happens, T? The ball gets kicked out to the 3, and it's either a wide open 3, or it's a swing to the next player for a wide open 3, or it's a swing to the next wide open player for a 3. So that's the science behind Wendell Carter's pick and roll defense. But back to your question about what I like about today's game, I mean, still to this day, man, the NBA players are still the most athletic and skilled ballers in all of the land. So it still takes a high skill level. It still takes a lot of athletic ability. It takes a lot of reps. It takes a lot of years for these guys to develop into the players they are. So, I mean, I'm still a fan of the game. I might talk about it. I'm not as big of a hater as Charles and Shaq. I can't admit that I am a hater
No,
sometimes.
you're totally not as big a hater as them. That's for sure.
Right, but I will admit that sometimes I'm a little tough, but I feel like it's warranted because I've paid my dues, and I still hoop to this day. And the game, even the open runs are affected by the way that the game is being played in the NBA. These guys at the open gym think they Steph Curry. And you know me, I'm anytime I step on the court, I feel like I'm the best shooter until I see somebody better. And man, T, when I tell you that I get so tired, man, I'll quit because these guys just have no idea of how to play the game of basketball. So, I mean, I ain't trying to make this a Gene hoop story, but I'm just saying, man, I do think these guys are uber talented. They're as athletic as they've ever been. Some of the, like bro just said, some of the best shooters in NBA history. But man, I just would love for these teams. I would love for the teams to be more complete. I remember back in the day, man, I could name starting fives on every team in the NBA from the 90s, and they were competitive teams. Nowadays, man, you can't even name some of these. Name me the starting five from the New York Knicks right now. Thank you.
Elfrid Payton, Julius Randle, Bobby Portis.
No, Bobby Portis plays for the Bucks.
R.J. Barrett.
Okay. Mitchell Robinson.
Mitchell Robinson, who just came back. But yeah.
Name the starting five from the Charlotte Hornets.
Woo. Our boy Scary Terry.
Miles Bridges, Gordon Hayward,
and I know I'm stuck after that.
Bismack Biyombo.
Oh yeah, because we saw him mad at LaMelo for fishing for that triple double.
Hey,
but see, we're so plugged in though. You know what I mean? Like me and you are watching we're watching NBA every single night.
T, name the starting five for the Toronto Raptors. And this is a team that just won the series 2 years ago.
Kyle Lowry,
one.
OJ Anunoby.
You don't even know his name.
Then you got Siakam.
3.
Our boy Van Vliet.
So Fred and Kyle Lowry start together in the backcourt?
I could be wrong about that.
Let's just say Fred, Kyle Lowry, OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam, and who's the fifth?
I'm blank on the fifth dude. I couldn't even guess.
So that's all I'm saying, man. Now, and I don't even have to take it back to the 90s because that's not my point, because I can name the Charlotte Hornets starting five. I can name the Milwaukee Bucks starting five. I can name the Cleveland Cavaliers starting five. I can name the Atlanta Hawks starting five. I can name basically any starting five from back in the day. But the point I'm making is that the game was more competitive. It was definitely more competitive. Entertaining, that's up to you what you value as entertainment. I just love to see the way the game was played. It was tough. It was physical. And you had to earn your stripes. It wasn't necessarily as much of a players' league as it was now. And we can go back to the whole James Harden situation, which is, if you want to transition to it, I think is a perfect time now. If you can see that guys can just weasel their way out of what they wanted from the beginning and then, go to greener pastures when, hey, man, maybe you need to look at yourself. Maybe you need to take a look in the mirror at yourself. And maybe it wasn't the Houston Rockets franchise. Maybe it might have been you, bro.
In Harden's case, it was totally James Harden, bro. Like, I did not like that he came out and said that he did everything he possibly could have done for the Houston Rockets. I mean, I feel like that's, as a Dame Lillard fan, that's not what you want your best player. That's not the mindset and approach that you want him having. And then on top of that, I mean, we know in those playoff series that he was so ball dominant that it killed that squad. That And yeah, Chris Paul was there. He got hurt. That was probably their best chance to be for real. But James Harden can't be out there like he had the Rockets in the finals every year like LeBron. You know what I mean? I didn't like that. But at the same time, you know how I feel about players doing what they want to do. Like, yes, he signed for all that paper in Houston. Houston is the one that gave him all that power.
Right.
You know what I mean? They really are the one that put the battery in his back. You feel me? They blew his head up. And so when it was time to go, it was just time to go. You know what I mean? And we've seen that so many times in today's league that, you know what I mean? I know that is it going to affect James Harden's reputation? Absolutely not. You know what I mean? More than anything, I feel like he proved that you can do whatever you want. Like he said, I want to go to the Nets or Philly, and he went to the Nets. You know what I mean? So, can I say that I didn't like it, but hey, it worked.
Well, I mean, again, going back to what you were saying about Houston and them giving him all of the power. I mean, they gave him the power when they gave him that huge contract, but they also gave him even more power when he was allowed to call the shots and, not be on time to the film sessions, and for them to have to wait around him at the airport and all of those different things that we hear from inside
Diva
of the locker
activity.
room. Yeah, man.
Is that whole stud activity? Is that classified, bro?
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily classify that as whole stud activity because the team allowed it. Like, it was a given that they gave him the leeway to be able to do him. So I wouldn't consider that whole stud activity. What I will consider whole stud activity is just the way he handled it. And again, it would be different. T, we don't know the insides. We know how it works since we cover our own teams. So it would have been dope to be able to cover, maybe not, but you know how it is when you covering a team, you get the inside. You know what's going on in that locker room. So it would be different if we were in Houston and we knew what type of guy James Harden really was. We don't know what type of guy James Harden is. So I'm going to lay low on calling and saying that he exhibited whole stud activities. But like you said, it's a players' league. These guys can do whatever they want. He's like you said, he said he wanted to get out of there. He wanted to go to either Philly or back with his homie KD. And that's exactly what happened. I'm happy for him. If he's happy, I'm happy for him. You can just tell by the look in his face when he's on the court with KD that, he's having a much better time playing basketball than, he was in Houston. And maybe his time in Houston was up. Like you said, those last three or four playoffs, once he got to the Western Conference Finals or to the semifinals or quarterfinals or wherever they ended up, he was definitely burnt out. He didn't have his best performances when they counted most. And hey, man, when you're a superstar and you're entitled like that, then you have to come up and you have to come up big when the time comes. And he never did that for the Houston Rockets. So maybe his time was up. I'm happy that he's happy. I'm happy that he's back, being able to play with his boy KD. And man.
Well, his boy KD. I was wondering if you was gonna say his boy Kyrie.
Well, I'm not gonna say his boy Kyrie because I'm just saying his boy KD because they have prior history in OKC. But going back to what we talked about on Wednesday's episode of On the Soil, and exactly what we talked about. And it's funny, T, because I was gonna hit you up after that game Wednesday night because Tim Legler must have been watching On the Soil because he said exactly what we were saying about the sacrificing, who was going to sacrifice, and about the defense. And I think that's what showed on Wednesday night. And obviously it was their first game together. Kyrie was just coming back off of his hiatus. But I thought it was interesting that Kyrie had the most field goal attempts. Like he came right in, he came right back.
30,
bro.
It's like, I was watching that game the whole time like, damn, we said that he was going to be the one sacrificing. And you said, he's coming back from time off. Maybe some of it was, let me knock some of this rust off, quick. But at the same time, it's like, man, we playing the Cavaliers. And Colin Sexton is doing whatever he wants to whoever he wanted. Kyrie, KD, they was all getting some low key. So I'm definitely interested in how it takes shape moving forward. But for game one, I thought it was comedy, bro. I thought it was hilarious that Kyrie was up there firing up all those pills like that. like 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 nothing had changed. Like it was just Kyrie, no KD, no James Harden. Like it was all on his shoulders. So do I think that that's how he's going to play moving forward? No, I can't see Kyrie being that dense and thinking that he can put up 20, 25, 30 shots a night, with the guys that's on the floor with him. But at the same time, like you said, this is a team that is trying to be playing in May and June. So I feel like a game in January, you can't never get too upset about it.
No, and I mean he shot 50% from the field. So when you look at the stat line, when you look at that, it's like, oh, okay. But at the same time, like we said earlier, man, stats and numbers don't tell the whole story. And it's like,
because they almost gave up $140.
They did. What was it? 140 to 135 or something like that?
Yeah.
So I mean, something else interesting that I noticed, and again, it was just their first game together. I'm pretty sure. I mean, if that's your biggest problem is about who's gonna have the ball and who's gonna score when we need it the most, then that's not too bad of a problem to have. But something that I found interesting was, and something that we talked about Wednesday. Remember when I said, well, KD, I don't think he'll ever have an issue sacrificing because, I mean, that's just the nature of the basketball player that he is. He's so gifted offensively that, he can get 30 on 15 shots, and the efficiency is there. So, but I still feel like KD needs to be more demanding because when that game went into overtime and then double overtime, I felt like KD needed to demand the ball, and the ball ended up in James Harden's hands just way too much. And I feel like if anything, that's going to be a detriment to that team. But I think they'll work that out. But another thing that we talked about was the defense. And when I said, like, when DeAndre Jordan isn't in the game, they're extremely small. And DeAndre Jordan wasn't, from the time I turned the game on with like maybe 6 minutes left in the fourth, DeAndre Jordan did not see the court. The lineup for that last 6 minutes in both overtimes was KD, Kyrie, James Harden, Joe Harris, and Jeff Green. So they have no inside presence down there. So Jared Allen was down there eating. Jared Allen was down there eating. Even Colin Sexton was getting offensive rebounds, putbacks. And that's what I was saying about that, T. Is like when DeAndre Jordan isn't in the game, you can easily take advantage of those guys offensively and, down low. And that's what I think that they're going to have to work on most. And I think that's what Steve Nash is going to have to, double down on it. And they'll probably have to, make another transaction or get somebody out of free agency or something.
They're gonna have
because
to.
Ain't looking good.
Somebody out of the woodworks.
Yeah.
Somebody going to come out of the woodworks and play.
Yeah.
But to your point, Jared Allen was one of the guys when I saw that he was included in that trade. I was like, oh, they losing something. You know what I mean? Like they were totally losing something. And I think on the day of the trade, his most recent game, he had like 14 and 14. So that he was their dog down low. Yeah, I mean, like the Nets were already a team that was just filling in some of the missing spots because they had KD and Kyrie. Now you bring Harden in, and you're even in a deeper situation where, like you said, when you lose a DeAndre Jordan, you're so thin down low that it's going to hurt you. You know what I mean? You can't make up for that no matter who is your backcourt or on the wing for you. So I feel like that's something, definitely a solution is going to have to come at some point to address that. But I still feel how I felt on Wednesday, bro. Like I'm excited to see the Nets play. I got reminded watching the Lakers game yesterday that the Lakers are probably still the best team in the league, no matter what. I don't know what it is about LeBron, bro, but the man looks so at ease right now that come playoff time, the Lakers are going to be the team to beat. So,
man,
yes,
The
Yeah.
man is 18 years in, bro. He got 4 ships. He done seen
4
it all,
ships.
bro. Like, he's just cruising right
Yeah.
now. The Milwaukee was favored by 2.5 yesterday, and I'm like, man, if AD is playing, it ain't no way in hell that I'm taking the Lakers, Milwaukee over the Lake Show. So, I mean, I agree with you, man. If I had to bet, my money is definitely going on the Lakers going back to back. I do think there's a chance for the Clippers to take that. I do think there's a chance for, a couple other teams maybe to get there and take that. But at this point in time, I definitely think AD and LeBron are definitely probably at the top of the food chain for winning another ship.
Mm-hmm. Man, I'm over here, of course, because one of the benefits of being at the crib, I got the TV on, and I'm watching highlights of KD right now. But here's the question. Here's the question that they're asking on the jump, bro, and I feel like it's a good one. It's actually tied to a piece of history. 15 years ago today, Bean dropped 81.
Today.
You know what I mean? 15 years ago today, man, the great Bean dropped 81 on Jalen Rose. And who was the squad? Was it the Raptors?
The Raptors, yep.
Yeah, it was the Raptors. And the question was, what player playing today is most likely to score 81 or has that in their bag? You know what I mean? And off the top, I want to say KD, but 81 is some whole other stuff. You know what I mean? It's like maybe Steph got 60 this season, and that was crazy.
Man,
you know what I mean?
let me just stop you right there. It ain't nobody in the league that can get 80. Devin Booker had 70 a couple years ago in Boston, and they was getting dubbed the whole game. Do you know what type of demon you got to be to put up 80 points in the game, man?
A demon, bro.
Bro, Kobe Bryant. Come on, man. Kobe Bryant was an animal, Joe. Those were animal instincts that I don't think, and I don't expect, like, the expectations, man. I'm a Big Mike disciple. And Big Mike, what was his high, 69?
68, 69, yeah.
I remember he had 69, 18, and 7, and like 5 steals against the Cleveland Cavaliers. But I'm saying that to say that Big Mike was as insane and as much of a demon as they came. And he never dropped 80 points. Okay, if you want to go back to Wilt, and we never saw Wilt score 100. Ain't no highlights or none of that. I'm not saying he didn't score 100, but Wilt was 7-1. He was the biggest guy ever. And if he put up, I think he hit 37 field goal attempts and 20-something free throws. So just think about how many field goal attempts. Just think about how many 2-point no free throws. Just think, okay, let's put it like this. 30 field goal attempts from the 2-point line is 60 points. And then you need 21 more free throws. So you got to shoot up 30 balls to at least get 30 balls and 20 free throws. And you got to be 30 for 30 if that's the case.
Exactly. I was gonna say you got to be perfect from the line, bro.
So
it's like you got to be damn near perfect. So
it's impossible. Ain't nobody putting up 81 in the NBA right now. I don't even think. And even though this game is stretched out and it's more of a 3-point game, even a guy like Steph Curry, who's probably the greatest shooter of all time, Steph can be as lights out from 3-point range as he ever was, and he still ain't dropping 81 points. So they can kill that noise on NBA to jump.
I remember because first I watched the replay the next day because I woke up that morning and I'm having flashbacks of teenage T. I never forget, bro. Waking up, turning the ESPN news, and it was like they were waiting for me to turn the TV on because I caught it right at the top of the report, and the dude on the TV, he said, if you fell asleep and are waking up, what I'm about to tell you is not a joke. And so it caught my attention. I'm like, what the hell happened overnight? And the next thing he said was Kobe Bryant scored 81 points on the Raptors on the way to a W. And I'm like, oh, because I remember they were down by a dub when I fell asleep, Joe. I'm like, gee, they were down by a dub when I cut that game off. And then waking up to see that the man scored 81 on the way to a W was crazy. But then watching it was even crazier. The way when he got to 60, and I think it was the third, like early in the fourth, or if not late in the third.
Yeah, he had 57. He had 57 in the third with like 3 minutes left.
Bro, that's insane. When he pushed past 60, it's like, okay, what is this man on? Like, what is he gonna end with? And then for the man to end with 81, bro, I never forget thinking about Jalen Rose. Like, how Jalen Rose they put Kobe on his ass at least one time. Like, you get to 65, and I'm like, hold on, you're not getting 70
at all.
But that's just how great he was. That's how locked in he was in that moment.
Hey, we at the 2:30 mark, man. Let's take our last break of the day. And when we come back, man, let's continue this NBA conversation because I want to get to something that you started off the on the soil with today. So let's take a break. When we come back on the other side, we're going to continue this NBA conversation. I'm Eugene McIntosh with my player partner T-Tom holding it down. We'll be right back. You're on the soil with the brothers.
WIFTBPN.
What's up, good people?
Y'all go accept my request on the page. So
Why?
I can do the
Why would we do that? Why would we do that?
I'm trying to do the survey.
Why would we let you in? Why would we let you on the? You talking about the Iswiz Book Club page? No.
Nah, we're gonna let you in, Ron. You need to read. I'm with that. I'm definitely put you on.
Somebody please let Ron in the Iswiz. Is it? I thought it was a public page.
I don't know. I don't run it.
I don't know who run it. You got to talk to Shannon and Robin and.
You say what? Y'all group private like it's something special or something.
First of all, it is something special.
Ass.
Okay.
There's something special. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
And you gonna talk it again. Don't get no punishment again now.
Right. They already came in there like, look at her being nice to Ron today. It wasn't gonna last.
You always mess.
I think Asia came in like, for now, like just for a little while.
Just for a little while.
Just for a little while. Just for a little while. Somebody let that man in the page. Somebody let that man in the page, Robin. Please let him in. I said what I said. Herb and 2, right here on What's in It for the Black People Media.
I got a traffic jam fan. You know it. I'm from the middle of the map. I get around. I've been there and back. Born in Gary, Indy, just to be exact. Got family in the go and family in the nap. Same shit everywhere. Saw it in the A out on old Nat. Sucker free suckers can't take the heat. Nah, they gon' rap. Big dumb cats, big guns clap. Another brother dead, another mother son lap. I'm from the era where the niggas did scrap. Seen the same person shot with 2 different straps. You don't want this, now you don't want that. Tired of fuck shit, wanna take a nap. I'm a dog on these chicks, just a different cat. Must make at least a M to make an impact. May just paint the Benz matte black, fresh head to toe. Never wore socks that didn't match. Cause I'm from the middle of the map. Yeah, I'm from the middle of the map. I'm from the middle of the map. Nigga, I get around. I've been there and back. Yeah, I'm from the middle of the map. I'm from the middle of the map. Yeah, I'm from the middle of the map. I get around. I've been there and back. Check. I'm from the middle of the map. I get around. I've been there and back. Born in Gary, Indy, just to be exact. Got family in the go and family in the nap. Talking money, shit hit my jack. If it don't make sense, shit I can sense that. Blowing big loud, never the mid pack. See you talk, that's just big cap. Nigga, I walk the walk with graduation hats. Fuck your opinion, nigga, in fact. You fuck my bitch, shit, I tip my hat. Now she dead to me, can't bring her back. Play the game, play the field, never been set. Bulls game, flow seats just like my Benz mats. Blood to my lips, gun on my hip, her project pack. Act not my
You are back on the soil with the bigs. I am Eugene McIntosh in the building with my player partner. They call him, well, I call him T-Tom, Terrence Tomlin, the great. And man, that's Tone Stanza, man, middle of the map, man. I'm from the middle of the map, T. I don't know if I got family. I don't know if I got family in the nap, but I'm definitely from the middle of the map, though.
Definitely from the middle of the map. It's crazy because my grandmother has sent these text messages to the family, just some history stuff about our family and where our family came from. Man, coming from Mississippi, man, fleeing racism down in the deep South, coming up to the middle of the map, man, and planting the flag, bro. That's how my family got here. So the middle, but you know how I feel about that song, though, man. I feel like going stand on my porch and blasting that every time I hear that. You know what I mean? That's definitely classic Bone, and another on the soil classic as far as I'm concerned.
All day. I love the sound of that, man. That's definitely a classic Bone song. But hey, man.
And that sample from one of my favorite pop songs.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I don't know if Tony did the beat. I don't know if Tony did the beat. Tony definitely is a producer, too. He's one of the beats that we play, the Stay Shaka beat. That's his production partner. They called the Traffic Jammers. Tony goes by the Chicago Loop, and Ryan, his partner, goes by the name of Dan Ryan. So they're the Chicago Loop. They're a production team. Tony is Chicago Loop, and Ryan is the Dan Ryan, and they go by the Traffic Jammers. So Tony been putting in work, man. And T, if you know anything, you know Tony ain't never lacking. So he definitely got another mixtape coming in about 2 weeks. He hit me and Terry up yesterday asking which mixtape cover we like the best. I'm like, boy, this boy Tony just ain't gonna never stop, man.
Man, I hope he never stops. You know what I mean? That's what it's about. And I feel like in the music world, you run into a lot of people that tell you, hey, you need to hang it up. But when you love it and you're good at it, that's way easier said than done, you know?
100%. And it's therapy, man. It's therapy. So one of these days, man, Tony gonna get his piece of the hop, man, one way or the other. So Bone, if you listening, I know you out there watching on the soil, man. You know the bigs always got your back, and you got our theme song going. So we always got much love for Tony. Tony is a great artist, but Tony is one of the special guys in my life, man. I think Tony, we need more guys in this world like Tony, man. I've never seen Tony not smiling. I never heard Tony say anything negative about anybody, and that's a true characteristic of a true player and a guy that I wouldn't mind being a part of my circle. So I would just want to shout out the great Tone Stanza, man.
Let me tell you real quick, man. My pops always told me that a mark of a good friend is when they friends become your friends. You know what I mean? And that's definitely happened a couple of times with some of your best friends, man. Bone and Watts are two of the best dudes I've met in my 31 years, bro. Like you said, man, that is the reason I'm honored to play his music, his hard work on our platform. I'm so honored to have something that we can share what he does with other people, man, because he's been a friend to me, man. I appreciate Bone.
No, that's word. That's word, man. Tony is a great guy. But man, I want to get back into something that you kicked off on the soil with today, and we were talking about the NBA and these games being postponed. I think maybe 70, close to 70% of the league has had at least one game postponed. The Memphis Grizzlies, I think their last 3 games have been suspended. I know Bradley Beal.
The next 4.
The next 4?
The next 4 games have been postponed.
I know Bradley Beal. I know the Washington Wizards were going through the same thing. I know Bradley Beal said that him and Russell Westbrook were trying to talk to the union exec, Michelle Roberts. Did we get to meet Michelle Roberts when we went to the NBA thing in New York?
I don't think Michelle Roberts was there that day, but we were right up there in her office.
Yeah, right. We walked past her office. That's what it was. But Bradley Beal said that him and Russell Westbrook wanted to talk to Michelle Roberts about pushing their game back tonight against Milwaukee. I'm not sure what the outcome of that was, or if they did have the talk with her. But Bradley Beal was just saying, man, it's not fair to guys to be rushed back into playing games, coming off of a hiatus like that, because that's an easy risk of injury. And I think he's right about that. I don't think it's fair. But I wanted to ask you, do you think that this experimental season will finish on time? And I think before you answer, I think that's the main reason why they only released half of the schedule so far, is because they knew that this thing was going to happen, and they wanted to give ample time to be able to schedule games that needed to be made up and, things of that nature. Now, I know Adam Silver and the NBA execs, they had talks this past summer about, multiple like bubble scenarios for the season. And obviously that never came to fruition. But man, I'm thinking now might be the time, bro, because this thing is only going to get worse and worse as the season goes. So do you think that this thing is going to finish on time? And what's your thoughts about, a couple bubble scenarios? And also, I saw something else that said that they were talking about players getting the vaccine in the coming few weeks or something. But I know that several players have voiced their opinions against it. So what do you think about all of that, man?
I feel like it's heading towards a Travis Sham mockery. You know what I mean? Another one of your words, man. We had the conversation with Scoop Jackson before the season started on if the NBA had a plan on how to deal with COVID. What, a month into the season, we see that they don't, or that the plan is to just push through no matter how bad it gets. And I think that what they're seeing is it can get bad faster than you possibly could imagine.
Agreed.
And let's just look at the Memphis Grizzlies, because I think that in every sport it's a team where you see the mismanagement more than any other team. And I think in the NBA right now, at first it was Philly, but now it's the Memphis Grizzlies. If you go back a week to I think a day or two before MLK Day, the Memphis Grizzlies had a game postponed. They didn't play the game before MLK Day, and with MLK being murdered in Memphis, they always make sure the Grizzlies are a part of that national schedule, right? So
right.
Yeah, they missed the game before MLK. Then they come back and play on national TV the next day, and then the league cancels their next 4 games after that. You know what I mean? So it's like you guys just don't care how obvious it is, how much it's about money. You let them play this national television game where they probably could have, put, I forgot who they were playing. Was it the Hawks or some other team? Whoever they were playing. You expose them to COVID, and then you cancel the Grizzlies' next 4 games, basically admitting that you shouldn't have played the game before.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that was at 14 games being postponed. Since then, it's been about 5 or 6 more. They're now over 20 games postponed. And then you got all these other teams, like you just said, people that know that even though they're making the 8 players available, the threshold to say that you can play, but anybody on those teams can tell you, like, no, bro, this ain't fair. It's not right. Because how do we, like, it's people that's going to get fired after this season. You know what I mean? Like, these games matter to the careers of these players. You know what I mean? And right now they're battling COVID as much as they're battling like an opponent on the other side of the court. Like, they don't know who's going to be available night in, night out. They don't know if a game's going to be postponed, until tip off. So it's a very unconventional season as far as patterns go. But I totally think that they are playing with fire and could possibly be talking about putting the season on pause, just like they did last season, trying to get a hold of this virus, because when they were in the bubble, they didn't have to deal with this. Now you're talking about all 30 plus teams possibly having to be away from their families for months at a time. I don't know how a bubble could work. I don't know what the players would agree to when it comes to a bubble, if they're willing to just continue to push past this season. I think you see now that, players are starting to split. I mean? Players are starting to voice their opinions.
Yeah.
That, hey, this is too risky. This ain't what's up,
No, I think as far as that bubble scenario was concerned, there were going to be like regional bubbles. And I think they were going to take a page out of Major League Baseball's book by, only playing like regional schedules. So there would be like I would say maybe not, like a West Coast. There would be a West Coast region, and there would be a Central region, and there would be an East Coast region, and then there would be a South region. So, all of the teams, let's say the teams in Florida, Atlanta, Georgia, Texas, Louisiana, all of those teams, that would be one region. And then obviously New York, New Jersey, all of the teams up on the East Coast. And then just basically by division, the same way the league is set up now. So, and there would be, I didn't see if there were specific venues that they had in mind. I didn't go that far into it, but it was just interesting that they did have these talks about the bubble scenarios, but just, of course, they look at the end of the day, man, this is business, and they're trying to get as much money as possible and cut as many costs as possible. And I felt like, we know that they felt like going this route would be the cheapest and easiest way, and we'll suffer the consequences and deal with them accordingly when they come. And that's what we're witnessing now. So just like you with Ja Morant, he was like, man, yeah, I want to hoop, but he was like, man, this virus ain't no joke. I ain't on that. And, so it's good to see and hear players voice their opinions, because, like we said, this is a players' league, and there is no league without those guys. So I'm just interested to see, man. Adam Silver, this is probably the first time that he's probably been, like, I would call it, being scrutinized, being under.
Yeah, he got a dilemma on his hands for the first time,
Yeah, so I'm interested to see, what's his next steps, and, how do they continue to push forward, because this thing is only going to get worse. And, man, I was tight because the Grizzlies were supposed to play Portland, man. And, I'm looking forward to watching my boy Dame on a nightly basis. And when I didn't see it, man, I was tight. So, hey, bro, Adam Silver, man. Adam Silver, man, what's up, bro?
I wonder, though, how do you think they balance? Is it a balance between playing and making money, or being safe and making money? Or is it so much about the money right now that it's like, forget it, push the button, we got to keep going? I mean, we saw how quickly the talks about resuming the league came together after, the Lakers ended up winning the championship. What was it, November?
Yeah.
They were back playing by Christmas. You know what I mean? So, like,
it wasn't November. Right now, I think it was
it was October?
No, it was probably, it may have been like the end of August. It may have been maybe like the beginning of September. I think it was 72 days. Okay. It was 72 days from the NBA championship until game 1 of the season.
Okay. But you see that it was obviously all about the bread. You know what I mean? Like Dion said, must be the money. The reason why you bringing the league back so fast, and then you see now that COVID is really not a deciding factor. We'll see how it goes, man. Like, I feel like the biggest issue is still how much people don't know about the long-term effects of COVID, and trotting athletes out there like it's just gonna be okay is teetering along the line of malpractice. So,
bruh,
we'll see.
Let me tell you this before we transition. You know damn well it's about the money. If they were, because they wanted to start on Martin Luther King Day, but they decided to start in December. And you already know, bro. That was supposed, if they would have taken that month off, that was gonna be a $500 million loss. And you know damn well the NBA ain't trying to lose $500 million, man. So they were doing everything in their power to get those guys to vote to start the season in December, and it happened because at the end of the day, man, we can talk about this being a players' league as much as we want, but you know, at the end of the day, we both read the book $40 Million Slaves.
Yes, sir.
So
yes,
you know the science. Y'all either get to work or suffer the consequences, man. And everybody's suffering the consequences right now. So I just want the best. I just want what's best for the players. And you know, if it's got to be a lack of us being entertained, then so be it, man. We need to focus on more important things anyway right now. So it is what it is, brother.
Yeah, and I feel like that's the attitude that the players are approaching the situation with. Like, yes, they want to go out and entertain people, but you see every day they're standing their ground a little bit harder on the fact that, hey, you know what I mean, we got families. You know what I mean? And they're not only are they not trying to quarantine away from their family, but they ain't trying to pass it to their family members.
Yeah.
They got some questions that need to be answered on the NBA side, and the answers may be to just halt it for a second to see if there's a better way to do this. But like you said, when the money is the motivation, your common sense goes out the window. So
common sense is the last resort, bro. But man, we got 5 minutes left, man, before we get to. We got 3 minutes left. Ron Rilla said, "No, not a fan, Joe. Y'all got a 3-piece spicy left, Joe. A 3-piece.
Can we get the fan? Can we get the fan? I was
how about 4? All right,
I'll get the fan.
Ron Rilla said we got a fan, Joe. But
yes,
we got 5 minutes before we bring our brothers Herb Howard and cousin Tucson Werner. I said what I said. Intellectual authority at its finest. The gods coming in every day, Monday through Friday, from 3 to 6 on What's in It for the Black People Media. But man, before we do that, man, I want to transition to baseball because I want to hear your the Tim Anderson quote about him being on RBI 21. But before we get to that, did you see Chris Bryant come at Jesse Rogers yesterday?
I did, and of course it's the same reason that our boy Jay Hay
never forget
had issues with Jesse, and it's a classic case of taking words and twisting them.
For everybody anybody out there that's listening or watching and doesn't know what we're talking about, Chris Bryant appeared. Chris Bryant, who's the former MVP, former Rookie of the Year for the Cubs. Chris Bryant was on a podcast called the Red Line Station Podcast or something like that, and the guys asked him something about the game, something about the game of baseball and how much fun he has. And basically he said something like, man, sometimes it's not as fun, as it used to be. And he said there were a number of reasons why. And he was like, man, sometimes when you get a lot of money and you get the fame, a lot of things get to you. And sometimes you got to just focus and remember, why you started playing this game from the beginning, and it was because it was fun. And Jesse Rogers spun it, and he wrote an article, and the headline basically read, Chris Bryant isn't having fun playing baseball anymore, is basically what it said. So Chris Bryant comes about, and Chris Bryant he ain't a social media guy. So Chris Bryant got on to Twitter, and he retweeted ESPN's post, and his message was, man, it must be a slow day for ESPN when they're putting BS in the atmosphere, man. And basically what he was saying was, man, I didn't say that I'm not having fun playing the game now. He's just saying that sometimes you get caught up in yourself with the things that are going on. If you're not having a good season, it takes a toll on you, and sometimes you got to take a step back and realize that you're blessed to be in this position, and you got to get back to the reason why you were playing this game in the first place, and that was to have fun. So I was happy to see KB come up and step up to the plate and let Jesse have it real quick, man.
Yeah, because honestly, and real quick, it is an absolute shame that Chris Bryant is so or that he doesn't have a better relationship, not only with the media but with the Cubs. This man is
I
the
agree.
MVP, brought a World Series to the Chicago Cubs of all teams.
I agree,
How
bro.
is he not walking on water here, bro?
And even with
You
the
know what I mean?
fans, yeah. the criticism,
Exactly. Yes.
the criticism is ridiculous, bro.
Like Chris Bryant is going to end up being the mark of what went wrong. Like you're going to be able to see what went wrong with the Cubs. Just look at their relationship with Chris Bryant and where it hasn't gone since they won the World Series. I'll never forget being on the Wrigley Field grass, bro, on the day that Chris Bryant got his first big paycheck. He looked like a new man. I have not seen or heard him that happy since. You know what I mean? So yeah, like I was happy that he got, his lick back in at Jesse Rogers as well. But it's like, all right, man, how many times y'all gonna come at this man's head before he's Deshaun Watson trying to get out? You know what I mean? So
man, before we rotate, man, we got 1 minute left, man. Can you give me the Tim Anderson quote? If everybody that doesn't know, Tim Anderson is gonna be on the cover of RBI 21. I don't play RBI 21. I only rock with MLB The Show, but I might just have to cop RBI 21 for the hell of it to support the black man, bro.
Oh, definitely. I feel like Tim Anderson being on the cover of a video game is superstar levels. You know what I mean? He's finally arrived at the top level of baseball stardom. It's not too many stars as bright as Tim Anderson in the league right now. But what you love most is that he has his eyes on the prize no matter what. You know what I mean? He was on the Zoom for a video game yesterday and ended up just being a glimpse into where his mind is at the time. And it's all about the commissioner's trophy. You know what I mean? It's all about the World Series. It's not about Tony La Russa is my manager. What am I gonna do? All the stuff that fans think is the issue. This man Tim Anderson is so locked in on winning in January. You feel like it's January, and this man wishes he can get back on the diamond right now. So, really, everything he said yesterday, it was a number of quotes that just make you, first of all, not just excited about baseball coming back over the next few weeks. I think it's just about a month before players and pitchers and catchers report. But it's about this young team getting another opportunity to get it all. And Tim Anderson is the leader of this squad. And as long as that's the case, you should be so excited on the south side of Chicago when it comes to Major League Baseball. The White Sox are going to be in that conversation as long as they stay healthy. Get used to these guys.
Man, I'm totally up with it, man. We got something to look forward to in Chicago sports, man. With that being said, we got the brothers, the gods, cousin two, a third of the kickoff kickback, Herb Howard. I said what I said, intellectual thuggery at its absolute finest, coming up next from 3 to 6 p.m. Make sure y'all stay tuned and rock with the brothers. Man, next week we'll be back on Monday. T will be back in the building with me at the What's in It for the Black People Media Studios. And again, man, shout out to Ron Rilla. Shout out to Ron Rilla holding the brothers down behind the boards. Yes, and man, for myself, for my player partner, T-Tom, Terrence Tomlin, I am Eugene McIntosh. We are the Bigs. We appreciate all the family members joining the conversation, sharing, liking, commenting, and helping us push this thing forward, man. Until Monday, spread love, stay away from the haters, but always, 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 always continue to keep it player, man. 2 fingers, we out.